This footage comes from Vietnam, where all sorts of strange creatures are rumored to still roam free through the wild and unconquered forests. This stuffed humanoid in particular has been deceased for quite some time, possibly for decades, and now looks discolored and slowly falling apart. It appears to be half man, half snake. Long blonde hair grows from its human-like head, which is furry all over yet also covered in straw blonde facial hair. Two rodent-like arms stick out from its fur-covered upper body. Its face looks like a cross between a man and an ape. The nose looks like it belongs to a primate, but the gray lifeless eyes and smirking mouth look like they could belong to a person. Its scaly lower half looks exactly like a snake's. Watching this thing in action must have been a terrible and shocking sight. How such a creature could come to be is unexplainable, yet here it is. Perhaps there are even more of them out in the wild. Working car parks aren't the most comfortable places in the light of day. So what happens when you enter an abandoned one in the darkness underground? Published to YouTube by Nellis in August of 2016. This video will make underground car parks seem even more terrifying. Nellis writes, "This is the scariest haunted abandoned place we've ever visited. The car park was in connection to a haunted hotel his crew had visited in Bosnia. He says that this video is even scarier than his two-part series about the hotel. So let's see what's hiding down in this car park." The car park has clearly long been abandoned, overgrown grass at the entrance and rubble inside. As they descend into the pits of creepy, on one wall is a handprint, as though someone smeared something on the wall. It looks like something red. Nellis shines a flashlight into the dark and spots a bag. The crew hears something down in the car park, prompting Nellis to greet the darkness, asking if there's anyone down there to give them a sign.
If there's anyone in here, give us a sign.
A sound is heard, although it's not clear what it could be coming from. He continues to shine his flashlight all along the gap to the car park to see if anything is moving. They hear some more noises, repeated taps.
Wait, did you hear that? Did you hear that?
His friend speaks in Bosnian, likely again questioning whether or not anyone is there. On closer inspection of the underground, they spot a door and recently eaten food. They continue down to the bottom of the incline and throw stuff at the bag they'd seen earlier. While looking deeper into the car park, they don't open the bag, but Nellis says it appeared like someone was sleeping down here or otherwise staying here, as though they found food canisters and towels. As they again hear something in the darkness, they decide it's time to move it on out of there. Nellis says it sounds like something scraping the floor.
Oh my god, I heard something.
Whether human, animal, or something supernatural, leaving this place with only one way out was probably the best course of action. This haunting just got a whole lot creepier. Posted by Raymond Powell to the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor notes that this is an update on the disturbing happenings in his home. What are these happenings? The video shows some sort of pipe or tube on the counter start to roll one way and then the other. Next, a glass of water is seen disturbed slightly before being pushed clean off the edge. And lastly, a nearby recliner's footstool extends on its own. Many in the comments are completely creeped out by this clip. Miss Miley Moo wrote, "At the end, I turned the phone away for the last 10 seconds cause I didn't trust it. I definitely wouldn't trust this ghost either." A YouTube channel called Dark Haunts Videos travels to the famous haunted train tracks in San Antonio, Texas, where a school bus full of children were said to have lost their lives. The road looks like it's on a small hill here according to him. Do you agree?
But it looks like it's uphill. Cars in neutral and off. We are slowly moving.
If the local legend is true, ghost children are pushing them up a road and straight past the very same tracks that they themselves were not able to cross over alive. Somebody needs to measure this road to see if they are really being pushed uphill. If they are, then this is amazing. It is really creepy though how the car stops all by itself within seconds of going over the tracks. A YouTuber named JMX decides to push himself to his absolute limits by taking one of the most extreme YouTube challenges yet.
What are we going to be doing? We're going to be not drinking water for 48 hours.
To be clear, this challenge includes not just abstaining from liquids, but also from any food products with water in them as well. Things are going okay at first, but after about 20 hours into the challenge, his thirst starts to get the better of him. JMX's voice becomes scratchy and his lips grow white and chapped. He said he feels confused and not like himself at all, and there are still more than 24 hours to go.
4 hours to go till we're halfway, so we're 20 hours down, and yeah, still kind of feel like, to be honest, I want to drink so bad.
By the second day, he comes down with a bad cold and feels completely terrible. He does not look or sound like the same person we saw at the beginning of the video. Watch this part and tell me if you agree.
Okay, we're about 3 hours away now. I honestly just want to drink something.
By hour 46, he feels like he might be in serious trouble, but he refuses to give up this far in. A friend makes him book a doctor's appointment, and JMX tries to finish the last 2 hours of the challenge under medical supervision. The doctors eventually force him to take in fluids through a needle before the 48 hours are up. JMX thinks that being given fluids through a needle does not count as breaking the challenge. Either way, I'm glad he experienced no long-lasting effects from this experiment. Here's my general advice for this video. Do not watch it alone. Posted to TikTok by elkakoi.tv, a man is walking through a cemetery that's been around for about 3 decades. Fairly new for a cemetery. It's not clear if he's entered the hallway of a mausoleum, but he's in the interior of a building. The sun shines into the corridor periodically, and you can hear a mysterious wailing in the distance.
Sí se ve algo tenebroso, pero pues supongo que así son todos los... ¿Qué onda? ¿Qué es eso?
As he continues down the hallway, he can see a boy at the far end of it. He calls out to him. He keeps addressing the child as he approaches him, but the child doesn't respond.
Niño, ¿quién eres?
Then suddenly, the cameraman turns around and starts running in the opposite direction while reciting a prayer.
Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre.
Seems like an overreaction, but look closer. As many in the comments note, the child does not look like a normal child at all. Some think it looks like a demon, either growing bigger or rising from the ground. When it turns, the cameraman realizes it isn't a normal child. Some in the comments are suggesting that the figure is a duende, which is a folkloric humanoid figure, like a gnome. Is it truly a duende or some other mischievous creature? Or are we thinking too positively? And it truly is a demon. Sylvia Likens was 16 years old when her life was taken in Indianapolis, Indiana. Likens was held captive for over 3 months by her caregiver, who subjected her to increasingly brutal things. These things started with no food and increasingly escalated, and lastly, confinement to the basement. The girl was tied there. On the evening of October 25th, a neighbor heard Likens' cries for help as she attempted to alert someone to her captivity in the basement. One neighbor did hear her crimes but did not inform police as the noise ceased at 3 a.m. Likens passed the next day on October 26. All involved were convicted in May of 1966. This video, posted by Redditor Gmas, shows the abandoned house of the teen. She was held captive in the basement here, which is from where the EVP is heard. As the two men walk away from the basement entrance at around 1 minute 53 seconds, you can hear a voice cry out, "Help me," clear as day. In response to one Redditor who suggests this sound is from children in the street, Gmas admits that it could be, but to him sounds like it's muffled from the inside the basement. He notes the voice sounds distorted, anguished, and not from a living human. I'm usually quite a skeptic, he writes, but would class this video as one of the more compelling pieces of evidence I've seen. Do you find it equally compelling? If so, do you believe Likens' spirit is still sadly in this basement? When searching for ghosts in a haunted house abandoned in the jungle, be prepared to skip a step. This video, posted to YouTube by Cryptic in July of 2015, purports to show a real ghost girl in Matheran, India. The beautiful stone building in this clip is surrounded by foliage inside and out. The guide informs his audience about the house. According to him, it's one of the oldest houses in Matheran, built during an era when the East India Company ruled in India. A general in the East India Company lived here with his family, including his wife and kin. Although the general was a generous man, during the time of the revolution, the house was lit on fire by rebel villagers. The colonel and his family could not escape. Within 30 minutes, the house was up in flames. Some say you can hear the sound of footsteps within the haunted house, and it's a general rule that no one should enter after 5 p.m. The crew is here at 5:30, hoping to capture on camera the ghosts that are said to haunt the place. After feeling unsettled by something, the camera whirls around and cries out that something is there. You can't see anything in the thick surrounding foliage. Although the cameraman states he saw a shadow, the other guy notes that it's just a cat, man. But then again, he says something feels wrong. The cameraman zooms in on a window opposite, and a figure with black hair can be seen there. One of the men says they heard a sound. That's when they decide to book it out of there, and fast.
What's that? Sound, guys, I heard a sound right now. Okay, let's leave. Let's leave.
Well, some are quick to call fake on this one. YouTuber Science Classes is a little more relenting, writing, "If it's true, then I too want to see that spirit. Do you too? Count me in as well. If a disembodied voice tells you to leave, you should probably listen." Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Mads Entertain. The Redditor was given a warning that might be worth heeding, as he and a friend enter an abandoned house. About 1 minute into the clip, a creepy old lady voice orders them to leave. They don't leave. Instead, they search the barren house up to the second floor. After exploring, the Redditor is doing his outro when something bangs overhead.
If you're new to our channel, again, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe for new content every Sunday.
It sounds like it's coming from upstairs. They hurry out of the house, and the Redditor explains that they had to cut because after hearing that bang, they heard scraping against the walls and the sound of a door opening. Well, the voice had warned them. What did they expect? Is this phantom nurse here to heal you or to hurt you? Published by Luan Mendez in May of 2020. Luan and his crew are exploring an abandoned hospital whose staff hasn't really left. Wandering the halls, they seem to turn down one hallway where they seem to spot something skulking in the darkness. The thing must have disappeared, so they move on, continuing in their search, and that's when they see her, Nurse Ratchet. They race away as fast as they can, and one of the crew falls unexpectedly to the ground. It almost looks like he was clotheslined by something invisible. The crew manages to make it out of the hospital alive, and that's no thanks to the creepy phantom nurse. This deer is eating some corn when suddenly it looks up as if something is approaching. The camera jumps ahead and barely manages to catch this strange fleeting movement on the right side of the screen. The shadowy figure has everyone talking about the possibility of Slenderman, who apparently has been rumored to be in this forest for years. It kind of looks like it might be wearing a business suit and has an all-white head completely devoid of all features, but it's hard to tell for sure. Lars Sebastian Diamond is a YouTuber who appears to be calling out some sort of high-level corruption, though I have no idea what he means. The first video he ever made is extremely hard to understand because he is mumbling something while holding his ID.
Every day,
Then he plays some text-to-speech program for a minute that unfortunately also makes little sense to me as well.
Day that children, their mothers, fathers, and young girls are being severely mistreated.
Almost all of his videos start with him showing his ID and then playing the text-to-speech program outside of his window or in various public places. There's little context to go off of, which somehow makes these videos even stranger. Even his ordinary trips to the grocery store somehow seem creepy as he slowly photographs everything that he is buying, and the receipt like they are all important evidence. Judging by the number of mysterious videos he makes every day, this dark issue must constantly be on his mind. A research team known as Ghost and Mystery wants to reveal all of the paranormal activity happening in their home country of Bangladesh, of which there is plenty to be found. They go exploring a haunted place in the woods. Everything in the forest seems to wail at them not to go inside. And someone tell me why they hear a child's voice while investigating this well.
Okay. যাই হোক হ্যালুসিনেশন বিষয়টা খেয়াল রাখবা সবাই ওটা অনেক পুরনো ওটা দেখো ভিতরে
Freaky, right? The same ghost child's voice returns once more after they find a way inside, perhaps to shout a warning. Look again. At 17 minutes 4 seconds, they briefly pause on a large figure next to a meat hook. That can't be good. One investigator feels overwhelmed by a paranormal feeling, a wave of negative energy if you will, and they need to rest. That's when they chance upon a makeshift stick hut in the woods behind the abandoned house. Wait, I see something really scary inside. Their light crosses the glowing eyes of a large figure standing on 2 legs. It's there for but a moment, and then the unknown creature sighting is no longer caught on camera. They end the paranormal exploration shortly after. Urban exploration videos in abandoned places are perfect settings for ghost investigators to explore, but sometimes they find more paranormal activity than they are ready for, and that's when their paranormal investigation becomes mysterious, unexplained, and most of all, really creepy. This YouTuber is exploring an abandoned building when they hear some potentially paranormal poltergeist activity coming from upstairs.
These are all the stacked bathrooms. Here's a dining room. Alright, copy. I'm throwing this in the toilet.
As they slowly climb the steps, the first thing they notice is how much darker it is up here. The last thing they notice is the poltergeist that comes straight at them and then disappears.
We should definitely go one at a time.
Absolutely nothing is there at 1 minute and 24 seconds, and then you see its head, and then something out of my nightmares is dragging itself across the floor.
Bro, this door keeps moving on its own.
This door is moving by itself, but I suspect it's just the wind. With that said, I think I can hear some voices in the background, yet the reflection in the glass shows no one is there. Listen for yourself. After seeing a video like this, I'm gonna go check my locks. This YouTuber is exploring a cave in an undisclosed location when he sees something that freezes him in place. He steadies the camera and slowly zooms into the darkness. Staring back at him are 2 white eyes that are large and spaced far apart, signifying a large creature with a well-developed brow. The timing of his reaction seems very real and not staged. Also, this is the only video on the channel and it's from 2016. I did think that this video was fake at first because the name of the channel is Pro Films, but then I realized it just means he was recording with a GoPro. Also, this is the only video on the channel and it's from 2016. I'm just saying that if this was a fake channel, then there would probably be more videos similar to this one, but there's nothing else. A lot of children have had the misfortune of being singled out and picked on by their own personal bully, but there's one child in Spanish Town, Jamaica, who has had the worst luck of all. He says that they are being bullied by an evil spirit, and his parents and local town all believe him, plus there's video evidence for proof. His face has been blurred out to protect his dark secret. One video shows him sitting in a chair with his family. After being asked a few questions, the ghost decides to take control of the situation. Although he could have been pushing off the ground with his feet, you can't see the floor in this video, so it's hard to tell. One thing is for sure though, look closely and you can see the boy's right arm fly straight up in the air. It's definitely as if he's being grabbed by the wrist and jerked straight back. If he is faking it, then he is a very good actor. Okay, take a look at the second video and tell me what you think. He is just standing against a wall in his neighborhood when all of a sudden... You can clearly see his whole body in this video as the left leg suddenly shoots up, almost as if someone is pulling him by the foot. Again, if this is fake, then he is a great actor with even better balance. It looks like he really is about to fall flat on his face until his mother rushes in to save him. If a ghost really happens to be crossing over into the material realm and grabbing a hold of his shoe here, no one knows exactly why. Still, the local bishop has no doubt that this relentless ghost bully is real. Published to YouTube by Proving Demons in May of 2020. You might want to call your local exorcist after watching this video. The uploader explains that the house they entered is known to have been the site of an exorcism, and they were exploring it to capture paranormal activity. He writes, while experiencing heavy poltergeist activity, I could feel the demon inside trying to possess me as it did the previous owner, who is now insane in a mental institution. From that point, our ghost hunt took a turn for the worst. Let's take that turn with them. After hiking up to the abandoned building and entering through a crawl hole, the crew finds the inside looks like a surreal art shed. Colorful paper lanterns hang, arrows are pointing every which way. All natural light in the place is framed by gothic windows. At first, the general aura of the place is curious rather than creepy. There are lots of scraps of paper posted to a board, a large map, a guitar hanging on one wall. As one YouTuber, Lavender Rainbow, points out, there's a pamphlet on the wall later in the clip at 16 minutes 29 seconds that reads, Bipolar Disorder Survival Guide. So maybe the person living here was trying to seek psychiatric help. You find yourself wishing you were there, so you might examine things up close and learn more. But then the crew hears a woman screaming. They head towards a back room, with one of the dudes mentioning that they hadn't even made sure they were alone in this building. In fact, the building looks very lived in, not abandoned. There's what looks like a bed in the next room with blankets on it, a full backpack beside it, clothes hanging. Are they alone? He continues into the next room, hearing others inside, but it turns out just to be his own crew. You can hear a lot of sounds and things moving, like there are animals on the roof. Next, the door closes behind him by itself. They use the EVP to see if anyone's there in the home with them. The quick reply is yes. They also hear the words demon, as well as a warning, get out now. The demon tells them they have no right to be there. Andrew says he's starting to feel affected and his hands are shaking. And moments later, something falls off the shelf. Even scarier are the Polaroids that they find of what appears to be an authentic exorcism or ritual of some sort. What do you think went on in this makeshift cathedral of a home? A possession? Would you feel comfortable in the demon's skin? Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.